this is what has to happen to find success.
I never really saw myself as being a machine shop owner. It wasn't even really necessarily the dream. I just wanted to have more control over like the parts that I was doing and the parts that I was making. And I just love machining.
Always put out your best and always have integrity and always do the right thing and work to solve problems and do the extra work, because you just never know how doors just end up opening because people love people like that.
I just can't imagine, like, I got into it at 23 and it was just right out of the gate. I loved it. Like the people and the machines and seeing everything. And it was just easy to love. Super easy to love.
Yeah, super good. One of the cool things with Alex is, like, you know, I think I knew of him and everything, but then he entered one of our Christmas contests, ornament contests, where you design and machine a Christmas ornament. And we had Kennametal put up like a bunch of money and our different partners. It was pretty good.
Yep.
And then you got first place.
I got first place.
First
Yep.
place.
Hey, that's a great story.
He did the ball in a box before Barry.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So what did you guys? You guys just put a little thing out on social? Like,
Yeah, it was good. There was like a huge amount of people that actually
fantastic.
entered from all over the place. And yeah, some of them, there was like CAD, you know, and then there was like Cam and CNC, and then he did that. That was the top spot. And I think one of the gifts was like, was it $1,000?
It was $1,000. A Kennametal. It wasn't a voucher. It was actually it was $1,000 to spend with Kennametal.
beautiful.
And it won at like a very perfect time for us, because we probably only had the CNC machine for maybe 2 months at that point.
Wow.
And
So you were just starting, and
Just
you were
getting
still
started.
working at your previous. Where were you working at that time?
I was working at a company called Stanley Black & Decker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
of
I was
course.
working-
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
So I was working in the prototype shop there.
Very cool.
And so we had, my business partner Kevin and I had purchased the CNC machine and put it in his brother owned an electrical company.
Okay.
And so his brother was going to sublease us about 300 square feet for the machine,
Nice.
to put the machine in there. And so we had got the machine, we got the tool bench, we had gotten tool holders, some end mills, and some a vise, and, you know, basically ran ourselves out of money.
Hello.
When we were ready to cut our first parts, you know.
It's easy to
And-
do in this industry.
Yeah.
You
It is.
spend and spend. It's not cheap to get going.
Yeah, and that's how we got going. Was we didn't get any loans or anything.
for you.
know. Kevin and I together had probably about $20,000, and so he took 10, I took 10, and we put that basically just all on a used 1998 Haas VF4 with a 4th axis.
Oh, nice.
Oh man.
Good
and
on you.
We got ourselves set up with Xometry.
Yep.
And that was actually a really good time to get set up with Xometry, because
What year are we talking here? When did all this go down? When did you start?
2017.
Right on.
Yep. So,
okay.
so this was September of 2017 when the actual machine was delivered, and then so the Christmas ornament contest was in December.
$1,000, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
$1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then what did you buy with the money from Kennametal?
I bought a Kennametal rigid tapping head.
Oh, good stuff. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So we had gotten a job through Xometry, a little stainless steel job, but I think it was probably about 60 parts that we had to make, and they had 256 threaded hole on it.
There you go.
And you know, I was just concerned about that old machine repeating,
Of course.
and not having issues with breaking taps. So so we got the tapping head, and it did the job. I got through that job and moved on to the next.
98 Haas. That was actually not a bad vintage for Haas. I started selling Haas in 94, and 98's kind of when they made this little jump to better quality, you know, larger casting. I think they improved their casting at that point by like 30% and really focused on the cooling of the spindle. That was a good vintage. So you still have that machine?
We still have that machine to this
No
day.
way. Okay, yeah.
We don't really use it for
Tight stuff
anymore, but for some of the work that we do, it's still perfect, and it's still one of our biggest machines in our shop.
Yeah,
So
50-inch travel's nice size.
and being able to put the doors up on the side and feed extrusions through.
There you go.
We've done quite a bit of jobs where, the parts have been 80 inches long, but we've been able to just slide it through the machine. And so that's really helped out a lot.
There was a company down in Fremont, California back in the day. This was probably 99, 2000. They had bought a VF1 from me to do 12-foot extrusions. And all they did was move it down the line, drill a few holes, mill a pocket, move it. And that's what they did. A 12-foot thing going through a 20-inch travel machine.
I bought a VF11 from him.
Yes, you did.
And we used to run 25-foot parts for Boeing
Hello.
off of the Mylars, taping the Mylars down the floor, and then, just putting it down and then taking it down, using a dowel pin, pop it in the hole.
Move it over.
Yep.
120-inch travel machine and a 25-foot part. Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then sometimes we had to run coolant, so then it was like put the bucket at the end of the parts because the coolant would just be spilling out the end.
Yeah.
That's what you do have to be careful of that, right? If you're lifting those windows up and moving, that coolant will get everywhere. It will move.
Yeah, super good. So it's pretty awesome. And then so you got the $1,000. You did the tapping head from Kennametal, and you guys got your first machine, and you're on. And you guys are married at that time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. And where were you at on this? Were you like, oh, dang, we're gonna actually start a new company?
It was a lot at first because he was working a full-time job and then going into work, and we had our first son Brooks at the time, so I was home. I felt like a single mom at that point. I was like, I need help.
No doubt.
Yes, because it was nonstop. He would leave in the morning and he wouldn't come home till super late at night.
Wow.
So yeah.
We've talked about that before. There is getting started, especially, but just this industry, it takes so much time and effort to get the ball rolling and get things going. And Xometry is a good platform for that as well. Just starting out, getting some jobs. But we talked about that. It is a lot of hours at the shop.
Yeah.
Good for you for being there for support.
I knew, I mean, a lot of people know my story, but it's like I put a bed in the shop and I made a commitment. I'm never leaving. So, but we put a TV there too. So then Gina would come over and spend time and
Watch movies.
We just watch movies and stuff. I'll just go change parts and come back, watch the movie, change parts and stuff. And, but yeah, it was just an adventure, just starting something new and fresh. And it's crazy because now I walk through and you have 12 machines or something. You got Makino. You got you said, was it Brothers or Fanucs or?
Yeah, we got 5 robo drills, 5 Fanuc robo drills.
Heck yeah.
And we do have a Brother Speedio 650.
Good little machine.
That was our first brand new machine that we ever bought outside of our CMM.
Okay.
We bought a CMM. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. No offense to Travis, but I just don't get that excited over CMMs, but you got to have one.
You got to.
So that was we had bought a brand new hexagon CMM, and then about a year later we bought the Brother Speedio.
Yeah, good
Awesome.
stuff. Was there a particular job you brought the Brother for, or did you just feel it was just going to be versatile, fast? The 30 taper didn't throw you off at all in needing that?
No, actually, that's a good question because both of those machines were justified for the same exact job.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were doing about a 17 by 15 inch 303 stainless steel part.
There you go.
And the part is basically all pocketed out in the middle and has all these little tabs that stick up, and the overall thickness at the end has to be plus or minus 1,000th. And I take that back, it's actually plus or minus a half a thousand.
Hello.
On the finished thickness.
There you go.
And but the inside, the floor gets down to 31 thousandths across pretty much the whole thing.
Wow, good for you. That's great.
So it's a really challenging part.
No doubt.
And we had the process pretty well nailed down in the we were running it previously in the RA3G in the Matsura.
Oh, good little machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
RA3 little pallet shuttle.
Yep.
But
not to say that it was any problems in there. It was running well in there, but we really didn't because of how thin the part is, you don't really have to hog too much.
Okay.
You know, you just need to go fast.
Sure.
And so we wanted to be able to run more lights out. So we wanted that pallet changer. I was doing some research on pallet changing, and I was concerned about chips getting underneath of the tables.
Of course, yeah. Always affects your Z height if you get chips caught under there. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and these parts take like 3 days to make because there's a lot of little tiny features.
Got it.
So I didn't want to have any chance of fallout.
Yeah.
You know, and so really we had looked around, and the Brother Speedio just seemed like the right fit, and then we needed the CMM to inspect them.
Got it.
We had gotten the CMM when we were running them on the RA3G because we needed to actually CMM the parts for our customer.
Got it.
In the end, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Heck yeah.
Nice.
yep.
Awesome. It's cool. Like, so we were up at going to York, PA, and I was speaking at an event, and then he texted me and he's like, "Hey, you're driving right past our shop and stuff." So I was looking at it and I was like, "Wait, we can actually do this." So yeah, stopped by and then just popped out the camera, walked in the door with the camera, and I was like, "What's up?"
Little film action.
I'm like, "Courtney."
So awesome. Yeah.
So super good.
Yeah.
But they have like a bunch of family members. Like like you take a chance, you get this, you know, you spend your 20 grand, you get a machine, you know, 350 square feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now how much square feet do you have?
We have 9,000 total.
And then you're getting across the street.
Well, so it's 6,000 where we are
Okay.
now, where you walked around.
Yeah.
But then we have 3 across the street.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. And then now the family's like growing and you have a company that actually takes care of your family, and it all worked out, man.
Yeah.
But it's a
awesome.
grind still every day.
It's a grind.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. You say it all the time, right? This industry helps you feed your family, take care of your family. It is.
Yeah, it becomes like your life because it's
of course.
like I love this company. It's me and my wife talk about it. I go home, people say don't talk about work at home, and it's like this is our lives. Like this is literally our lives, and we love it. And then and then our family and all our employees and the vision, the mission, and all of it. But I just think it's the coolest thing, manufacturing. That so many people don't know what it is, and yet you can get into it and you're not working for anybody else. You're working for yourself.
Exactly.
Yep.
And how much work, how much dues you pay at the beginning and all of that, like later on it comes back, and then all of a sudden, so long you got talent, right, and you make the right moves, it's taking care of your kids. And one day your kids have an opportunity that, hey, if you want to go do something great and you guys are qualified and you can do it, then go do it. But here's something also that's amazing that we have, that our family owns a shop.
Mm-hmm.
How many kids do you guys have now? So Brooks, you had as you were just starting.
So Brooks is 7.
Okay.
And then we have River, who is 2.5.
Fantastic. 2 future machinists.
I think Brooks will definitely probably follow those footsteps.
Yeah.
River, he'll probably ride like motocross
Yeah.
or
Yeah, he's already got
play football or something.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many shops throughout the years I saw, because again, like you said, very family oriented. We see a lot of mom and pop shops. That's typically what a contract job shop is. And it's great, when I first started, maybe the dad had the company and then the kid took over later on, and in some cases built the company to heights the dad probably never even could have imagined. But it is neat that you're able to pass that down to the next generation. And Donnie, I know in talking with him, he started working in his dad's shop at 12 years old, and one of the most talented guys I've known. There's just so much information you could start and just become a sponge.
Yeah, you end up it's who you are.
Yeah, 100%.
And you just speak about it because that's who you are.
Yeah,
100%
100% agreed. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. I never really had I never really saw myself as owning a business or being a machine shop owner, especially like even when we first started, it was like it wasn't even really necessarily the dream.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have more control over like the parts that I was doing and the parts that I was making, and I just love machining. So what happened was I was working at Black & Decker, and it's a great job. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's the best place I've ever worked outside of working for myself.
Yourself, yeah.
But I felt like I had hit the ceiling
Yep.
in the shop where I was at. I had crazy opportunity there. I was brought in there to learn and figure out an Akuma LB3000.
Nice.
And so they had just bought that. It was like one of the newest pieces of equipment they had bought in like 20 years. And so I got to go in there, and once I got that going, then I had the opportunity to pick out the next machine, which we ended up getting an Akuma Maltus.
Excellent.
And then we got another Maltus. And so I had felt like I had really helped build up this department that I was in.
Sure.
And then they made lead men of all the different departments. So they made like a lead mill guy and
Sure.
a lead. And then so I thought, well, I'm definitely going to be the lead lathe guy because I'm programming everything. I'm making all the crazy parts, and I'm picking out everything we're doing. I had brought in 10 seats of Mastercam.
Wow.
They were
Good for
programming
you.
with CATIA at that time. And CATIA is great, but I think it's really great for designing.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily programming. At least I was having a hard time figuring it out. And fortunately, I was in a position that I was able to pick out what software I was going to use to program the Akumas.
Yeah.
And so they were like, if you want Mastercam, we'll get it. And then next thing you know, the whole shop
Was
wanted it.
Mastercam.
So we just went all Mastercam. And so, but I ended up not getting that lead man position. And I remember being like devastated.
Kind of
Yeah,
bummed.
I came home and I was like
How
upset.
does that happen?
Yeah, I was all upset. And, Courtney and my sister, they're best friends.
We are.
And so we ended up going over to my sister's house, and I'm kind of like moping, and like down, just being a Debbie Downer, and having a pity party. And Kevin, who's my business partner now, my brother-in-law came home. And so I'm kind of telling him, what had happened. And he's like, well, I believe in you, and I think we can probably start our own shop. And I'm like, well, let's do it,
Good on you. Sometimes it takes a little bit of, adversity. Like we were talking the other day, you get something that you're really dreaming, like, this will be great. What if you got that lead? You'd
Right.
never have your shop.
I never have it. Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, some of the worst things turned into the best things.
Yeah.
It's like the story we always tell.
Yeah. It totally is.
He knows that my old shop, I've never said anything. Like, you followed us forever, right? And I don't like talking bad about people, but I've just kind of told the story, But yeah, I worked at a company and for 4 years, man, and it was like I had a contract that was going to be my company, and I was going to send a check to this guy, and he was retiring. His kids didn't want any part of it, and at the end, I built it into something so great that he was like, "Hey, now I can sell it. I can make money and screw everything I told Titan for 4 years." You know what I mean? So, but that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because at that time I went to him and was like, "Hey, let's quote 4 machines. How much money do you have?" 0. And the rest is history.
We'll make it happen.
But at the same time, it's like, it was the same thing. So I love that story with you, because it's like, yeah, so many times, like even on God's path, you have it fixated, something's going to happen, and you think that this is how I'm created, and this is how the whole perfect scenario will work out, and you get set that this is what has to happen to find success. And then when it doesn't, you're devastated because you made this whole thing up in your head.
Yeah.
And yet all of a
Truly.
sudden God comes from the side and he gives you something so far greater. And you realize, I truly was fully prepared, and I walked all these levels to actually do this, you know?
For sure.
And we did Blue Origin.
Yeah.
And so tomorrow, actually right now, one just came out, but we actually did a podcast talking about our trip to Blue Origin and stuff. And in the podcast, I was like, we were talking about the, video that just came out a few days ago, which has like already over 100,000 views.
Crazy.
It was 100,000 views in 2 days, and just crazy. And I was like, hey, if you guys actually want to work at Blue Origin, here's a link and you can click it. And I was like, isn't that so cool that there's so many people out there right now coming into the holidays, and they're like, everything is ruined. I'm in such a bad place. I lost my job, something. And then all of a sudden you put a video out there, you show Blue Origin, who's paying great money, who's paying to bring your family to,
Huntsville,
Huntsville,
Alabama.
Alabama,
Or Florida, or
rated
Kent.
rated number 2 to raise a family, and it's just like, and then all of a sudden, boom, this whole thing falls in your lap, and then he literally is like, check this out. Oh no, I was in the car with you.
Yeah,
I needed
yeah.
a ride home.
Yeah.
That night that we filmed it, I was like, hey, can you give me a ride home? Because he lives like literally 3 miles from my house.
Right.
So we were going home, and then one of his buddies,
Good former friend of
Yeah.
mine, not
Calls
former
up.
friend, former customer,
Yeah.
great friend.
and the guy's like, hey, the company I work for just went out of business, and he's like devastated and all that, and he's like, they didn't even prepare us, they didn't anything, like they just went out of
Literally
business.
pulled the rug from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible.
And he's a great machinist, like great, and probably moved to this area for this company, and they just pulled the rug. And then afterwards, you know, he was like, oh, I got Titan here. And I was like, hey, what's up, this and this. And he's like, oh, I'll call you in a minute. So then right after that, they were talking, he dropped me off, and then Keith calls me up after. He's like, it's the craziest thing, because I just told him about Blue Origin. He's like, where's the link? I'm gonna go click. I'll literally drive to Alabama right now. And then Keith's like, that's like literally the perfect guy. The guy's so talented,
Super solid.
and like he'd be perfect for them. And now he's applying for the job and everything.
Exactly. I've had 3 former customers reach out about going to Blue, and it is neat because, right, like you said, who knows what might happen to put you on the path. But with that position, you not getting lead,
Yep.
now you've got your own shop. And those are the stories that are fantastic about this industry, and not ever getting that position, like you said, devastated and, oh my God, what are we going to do? Bam, go see some family, start talking, and then all of a sudden we could do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Yep. And I mean, it didn't, we've definitely gone through it since then. Like it wasn't like we just made that move and everything was easy. You know?
No.
And there was a long time there. So that was 2017 when we got the machine, but I
Yep.
didn't actually go full time at our shop until 2019.
Okay.
And I was also the first one, Kevin and I are business partners, but I was the first one to quit and go do it. And
What was he doing before? Was he a machinist or?
So Kevin and I, we go back because he was working construction for like his whole life.
Okay.
But he just a master of like all trades. The guy is just wicked smart.
Nice.
So thankful to have him as my partner.
Nice.
But Kevin was working construction in DC, which is about an hour commute in good traffic, but it could be like 2, maybe even 3 hours from where we live in bad traffic. So Kevin was doing this crazy commute, and I was still working at Sumatech before Black & Decker, and my boss had come around, and he was like, well, do you think your brother would be interested in working here? Talking about, my biological brother.
Right.
He knew that he was a machinist as well. And I was like, well, no, I don't think he's going to leave where he's at, but I think that my brother-in-law will,
Yeah.
And so Kevin had quit construction, come to work at Sumatech with me, and we worked together for about a year and a half before I left Sumatech and went to Black & Decker, and then he stayed at Sumatech for maybe another year, and
Okay.
then left to go to Carnegie Institute of Science, and then he became as a machinist, but then became the facilities engineer there.
Fantastic. So he's got a good background
He's
that
got a very
came
good resume.
into that's wonderful.
Yep. So he takes care of, he'll wire up our machines, he runs air to them, and really kind of more handles the business side of things too. Him with Courtney and Courtney's mom.
Nice.
They really kind of handle the business
Good
side.
little family affair. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
we did a video on them, and I just loved. He was like already talking smack and talking about Donnie making small chips and
Yeah,
stuff.
oh, I saw
Yeah.
the glitter. Yeah,
The glitter.
The glitter.
Yeah.
So funny.
We also definitely have respect over each other's spaces, like he knows what I'm good at, and
Yep.
so it's like whatever Alex needs to make parts, like that's the direction that we're going in, and really whatever Alex wants to make, that's the direction we're going in.
Got
which
you.
I love that, and he just, but I also, it's like whatever he wants, I'm fully supportive too.
Yeah, that's
It's-
good partnership then. You guys
it is.
know exactly what the strengths are of one another. Good on you.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that I love about Alex too is that they're a small group
Yeah.
for the Titans of CNC.
Very cool.
And what number is it?
238.
238.
Yeah.
So think about that. That's companies out there
Yeah.
that basically become a small group, or it could be a school, but a lot of companies, and it's like you create an apprenticeship program in your company and use the Titans of CNC curriculum to actually train up your own workforce. And yeah, he's been all into it,
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
super good.
Yeah, we got a lot of we attract I think a good amount of kids. We have kids come over from Hartford Tech High School, which is pretty close to us,
Beautiful.
and over the summer we had four studs, man. They were like, one kid was going to school for aeronautics, two of them
Wow.
were mechanical engineering,
All in
and
college.
yeah, all college
Wow.
kids, and they came through, and of course we use Titans of CNC Academy for so what we do is we have it structured that we do 2 nights a week from 4 to 7 o'clock.
God bless. That's so great. Good
And we
for-
do that for 10 weeks.
Wow.
So 2 nights a week for 10 weeks. And we always start off with one of the building blocks part. I say, whichever one you guys pick it as a team, and
Yep.
that's what we'll do. And then after we get through that, which usually leaves us about 3 weeks left,
Okay.
then it's kind of like a free-for-all. It's like, what project do you have in mind that you want to do? And but I'll still see them pulling up the Titans videos, and they're trying to see what you guys are doing, and then they're designing their own thing.
Very cool.
So they use your videos as like, after we do the main project, they'll still use your videos to
Tools,
like template
speeds,
off of.
feeds,
Yes.
all the particulars. I don't think a lot of people might not understand that, like how the small groups work. And
Agreed.
What the small groups is like, so since everything's online and you can actually go to CAD and CAM, and then you can work with, we have like SolidWorks and Mastercam, where SolidWorks is like $60, $69 for like a $5,000 seat of software. And then Mastercam full, like you can post, you can do everything. And that's a full 5-axis seat for like $160 on our resources page on our academy. So students can actually go home and actually design and program the parts. But a lot of them, they can't actually machine the
Machine
parts
'em.
because they don't have a machine. So the focus, kind of like churches have small groups, right?
Yep.
So it's like, you might have a mega church with 10,000 people. Well, let's just get like 8 of them together
Yeah.
at different places, so small groups. And that's kind of like how it came out. And then it's like, so a company now can create a small group. They can train their own workforce, but a lot of them, they actually just open it up and say, hey, look, if you're in the area and we have a map, so then basically no matter where you live, like in the world, you can find a small group that's close to you. You can contact them like a dating site.
Heck yeah.
And then you go to a shop, and then a shop is like saying, hey, on a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Saturday morning on however, we're going to actually take a couple hours. You can come over here and actually machine your parts. So you don't have to even work for us.
That's
We don't
fantastic.
need anything from
Yeah.
you. It's somebody that loves the industry and loves teaching that will actually put it out there and say, hey, I got a couple hours and I got the machines.
Yeah.
So I want to teach young people and teach people this trade. And it's like the coolest thing.
And of course, you have control over all that. So, like, like you get nervous, guys are coming in running your machines, but you probably have safety stuff in play that you're like, okay, we're not going to crash these with these guys run, because you got beginners running these machines, right?
But you have a setup checklist that goes through everything. And if they follow it, they do
Ain't
not
gonna
crash.
That's it.
Titans of CNC, baby.
Titans of CNC.
Very
Oh, man.
nice.
Yes.
I love, and that's what we need. Like, great story. The small groups, amazing, the curriculum, but then we need guys like you, guys that step up, and there are a number of them out there, but the time that you give away from your family and your job yourself, your company, to do that for people, good on you, Alex. That's awesome.
I think that like you're 250 something or 200 and what?
238.
238. So you were following us, and I was talking to you for a long time before you actually started your own.
Right.
So you guys, like when like you're building your company and we're putting out all these videos, and stuff. So like, would you say like you were like constantly like looking at us, looking at our YouTube videos for inspiration on how to actually do your own company? And I'm only trying to say that because I know that you were following us and stuff, but a lot of people, they have a relationship with us over time where we're in like the Facebook private group for Titans of CNC, and you're just like in a relationship with all these like shop owners and stuff. And then they're learning from you, like little bits and pieces. And then all of a sudden it's like, they just kind of get it and be like, you know what? Now I'm at a place where I want to give back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
I've been getting, so now I want to give back, and then they become a leader in it. You know what I mean? And then when I look at you and I look at some other individuals, I'm like, man, for so many years I've known these guys, and they used to always ask questions, and now they're helping. You know what I mean? So
That's so great.
it's like a transition that takes place, you know?
Yeah. Well, I told you last night at dinner, like I've always just been super blessed to be around people that have, I guess, just put their wing around me and taken care of us and brought us up, like it just seems like everywhere I ever worked, it was like there was like one guy who just saw something in me and decided to train me. I started really on manual machines. First 3 years in machining for me where I was a manual machinist, but I was being mentored by a really good manual machinist.
Very cool.
And I was just so fortunate about that, But at that time, I really didn't have the passion for machining yet.
Yeah.
I was fortunate because it was a plastic injection molding facility. And mainly what we were doing was we were taking plastic injected parts and having to make a fixture that would like get the flash off of something,
Sure.
or maybe just tap one hole, but 1,000 times,
Yeah, sure.
So I was getting all these crazy parts and I was learning how to fixture, and I didn't even really know it,
Right.
And then when I had, fast forward to getting into a CNC shop, I had this guy, Mike Curry, really take me under his wing, and he was the rock star at that shop. And, my supervisor, Todd, saw something in me at that time. And, I went from 3-axis to horizontals to running the mill turns.
Beautiful.
And, full 5-axis parts. And so if it like wasn't for Mike, then I don't know where I'd be, And then after that, it was like once I got to Black & Decker, it was you, It was like then I started seeing all these Titan videos, and so I had so much inspiration from what you were doing, and I just saw like it wasn't even just the machining; it was like the way you did things. Like everything was clean. You had a bin with all your measuring tools in it, and so I just started doing the same thing. I'm like, I'm gonna have a clean workspace.
Heck
I'm gonna put my measuring tools in this, and I'm gonna do things like this. And you had a video where it was quoting parts. So, when I first ventured out on my own, it was like I watched that video probably, I'm not kidding, I probably watched it 12 times. And I'm like writing notes down, so I can quote jobs the right way,
That's great.
And then at the end, you're like, all right, so now that we got our number, what's the best that we can actually do here, And so I would get to that point and I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, I can do pretty good, but I want to make money still. How much money do I want to make?
That's exactly right.
So just all of my life, man, and then to have my business partner, Kevin, and Courtney. Obviously, Courtney has just been, we've gone through some hard times with this starting a shop, When I quit Black & Decker to go full time, I want to say we had $3,000 in our personal account, maybe.
Wasn't a whole lot.
And we had about $3,000 in Loper Machine.
Man.
So we had like $6,000, and somehow I convinced Courtney that like,
let's do
this is enough.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be fine. And like a month later, I'm like, I'm thinking. I didn't tell her, but I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna be fine. And so I had taken this titanium job. And
that's great.
And it was an exometry job, and the job paid $18,000.
Hello.
And for us, that was like, I need this to come together, And I reached out to you, and I had done some titanium before, but mostly turning, and not like crazy milling. And this was like going to be 100% milling. And so you had helped me with like messaging back and forth on speeds and feeds, and you know, you kind of like your go-to numbers, and
Yeah.
and so you helped me through that job, and we got that job done. We got paid for that job. And
Kinda set you
did,
off?
Did I get the 10%?
I don't know. Yeah, right? Exactly.
yeah.
It's all good.
But that job took us to the next job, and then eventually that supervisor that was at Sumatech, that, you know, kind of paired Mike and I up together, he went on to run another shop, and which was like the big shop in Maryland, and he got me connected with David Tracy, who is the owner of that shop.
Right
and,
on.
David has just been a phenomenal guy to us, and just man, I love the guy. You know, he just takes
great.
care of us, and he trusts us. You know, and he also has crazy faith that it's like, I can give Alex this job. I'll never forget this one job in particular where he sent me a print. He said, I want you to look at this, and then I want you to come up here on Monday and talk to me about it and tell me how you would do it.
Right on.
And so I looked at the job, and I'm like, I thought about it all weekend, and I'm like, this is a great job, but some of the tolerances on it, on the thickness, were like, we didn't have the machines for it to continuously hold that.
Got it.
So I knew that I wanted to do it in a robo drill, but we didn't have a robo drill. So I went up there on Monday, and I was like, all right, well, this is how I would do it. I'd run two of these, 2 op 1s at one time, 2 op 2s in one time, and I'd do this in a robo drill, and this is my process. And I laid it all out there for him. And he was like, we actually do a part that's just like this right now, except this part has all the pockets in the backside, where the one that we don't doesn't have all these pockets in the backside. So
Got
he
it.
was like, well, I love it. He's like, find a robo drill. And I was like, I mean, I can find one, but I can't afford one, you know? And he was like, find a robo drill and let me know. And so we, you know, he bought us the robo drill.
Wow.
But we paid it all back,
Sure.
you know, in parts. We made all parts, paid it all back, all the money to buy the robo drill.
Did you
But
buy a new one or a used one? You found a used one?
that
Or-
first one was used. The second, the third, the next three were
new.
brand new.
Good for you.
But yeah, so, but he had that faith that was like, we're going to give him this, we're going to get him the machine, what he needs, and he's going to deliver parts on time, and they're going to be perfect. And
Well, you know,
that's what we do.
you
That's
talk about,
awesome.
yeah, and you talk about, we've talked about it on podcasts before, like going through the career of what you had prior to opening your shop. There's always people that are going to take you under their wing, like you had mentioned. And, you know, without those people, you know, but you also had to project that you wanted to learn and you wanted to, you know, be involved more and take it to the next level. You know, a lot of people will sit there and maybe they're, you know, wanting those things, but not letting their supervisor or their guy above them know, like, hey, I'm here. I want to keep progressing and learning more. When you do that, we've said it, the sky is the limit in this industry, because it's not going to stop at 2 axis, 3 axis, 5. It's going to continue. And now you look at where you're at, and what a great story.
Yeah,
Super
and the
great.
guy's smart too.
Yeah.
Because that's the world that we live in. Is like, I always say, like, if you want to do good in life, become an expert at solving problems. Like,
Yep.
run at problems and know that is a gift right there, because when you solve it, it just bumps you up. It keeps
Yep.
bumping you up. So you're solving his problem, and he has the means. He works at a big shop, and it's like, you know, there's a small price to pay to have this whole problem solved, and he trusted in you, and it was great.
That's
you know what? One thing it reminds me, and I think it's relevant because it's like, I got my first 4 machines with you,
Yeah.
and that was a $300,000 loan that was guaranteed.
Yep.
And like, I used to be in prison.
Yeah.
You know, but something that I really haven't talked about too is that, like, I was running those machines 24 hours a day, and then I started working with Spectra water makers,
Yep.
the
Remember those
desalinization
guys. Yep.
pumps, crazy manifolds and stuff. They had another customer, and the customer was basically scrapping like 40 to 50% of the parts, saying that they were impossible.
Yep.
I took on the jobs; they were flawless. Like, we went an entire year, not a single reject, and like, they couldn't even fathom it. And they kept giving us more work, and then I didn't want it to be just my only, so I was doing all the site parts and all the
Yep.
you know, different parts, and then I was doing the Spectra parts, and then they were like, hey, we want you to do these. I said, I can't. And then they were like, how do we get you to do these? I said, buy me a couple machines. And they're like, all right, get them quoted.
Yeah.
Literally get them quoted. So that's I went from the SL10s to SL20.
20.
Yeah. And then I went up to a VF3. And then that was my fifth and
Next
sixth
level.
machine.
Yeah.
And then basically I just made a payment to them. They basically bought them, and then they just they basically just leased it to me. And then when they pay me, they just pay me short a little bit and for the machine payment, and that was my next 2 machines.
And isn't it in my 30 years of selling machine tools, I've heard those stories, right? Just like you're saying, you're in with this company, you got a really good relationship with them, and he's able to help you get your machine, likewise with you. And sometimes you get these customers that'll come to me, Keith, oh my God, I got this, I got to quote a Matsura, or I got to quote a Toyota or Eurotech or something. And they're like, this customer's going to buy me the machine. And 99% of the time it doesn't happen. But there is that 1%, that the guy really, it's like the relationship you have, the quality of work that you do, the trust that customer has in you, they're willing to step up and do it for you. That's great.
And it's sad to say, but there's not a ton of amazing shops. There's a million shops, but each one has their struggles with employees. Each one has their struggles with culture. Each one has their struggles with keeping employees and the top guys well paid so they stay there and stuff. So I think when somebody sees you as that trustworthy, problem-solving, crazy talented shop, they're willing to do almost anything to have you keep that work, because they have a product and they have to ship it. They don't want to be on eggshells with a manufacturing company, and they don't know how to make the parts themselves.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of companies like, that's why I say, like,
or pawn that off to a new shop, and they got to learn all the struggles that you guys did coming up and learning that part, and just everything that goes in with making it, whether it's tolerancing the part, moving or fixturing it or setting up and making it efficient enough to make money on it.
No matter how much money you're making, you should never compromise. You should always put out your best and always have integrity and always do the right thing and work to solve problems and do the extra work, because you just never know. You just never know how doors just end up opening because people love people like that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, as we're sitting here and your shop is beautiful. I saw it online, and the video that Titan did when he was up at your shop is awesome. You got a horizontal little 5-pallet ES450, like you said, and then you said the RA3s. But I'm sitting here, we're surrounded by all this automation. Mm-hmm. Do you have any automation?
Well, we didn't. Wait.
I mean,
you just led into that, and we just put the tables over here because we got the halters in.
Oh man, I had to.
But you're going that direction. I think it's fair to actually turn around and actually check this out. Each system is a little different.
Yeah, so they do. Halter is a partner of ours that we just started with, and they do 3 different models. They do a universal, they do a turn stacker, and a mill stacker, and they go from little compact parts to large parts. You can go from anywhere from a small little any diameter on the small size up to about 12 to 16 inches on the large size. And the payload on these things, their big one will handle a 170-pound part. I know. So these guys, it almost seems integral today to have automation in the shop, because we've talked about it, right? The skills gap, the hard time finding labor, just running at night when you're not there, making, money when you're on your pillow sleeping. These guys have been extremely successful in putting out this load assistant product. In the US.
I love just how versatile it is. Like,
super versatile.
Take the same robot, go to the mill, go to the 5-axis, like just boom that job, and then just take it over there, put it on the lathe, and go from machine to machine to machine and stuff. And I don't want to make this about Alex, but I will actually look at the camera real quick, and I'll just say, hey, Keith at titansofcnc.com. We're actually distributing these guys. We're using them. We're making full education videos on it to show people, hey, it's not about taking machinists' jobs. It's about allowing shops to automate, to actually have well-paid machinists. You're just not going to have a million machinists. You're going to have the right people on the floor and automate the work so that we can actually keep jobs right here in America. And no matter where you are in the world, you can make your own parts to put food on your own tables and stuff. So
Truly.
I just throw them out there. Keith at titansofcnc.com.
And one last little
Sales.
thing. Yeah, sales. No, these things are, though, honest to God, they're a plug and play, new or used machine. They take like 5 minutes to set up. You can change it from any machine in the shop. They're movable. But, kind of like what he and I said when we started this whole gig, we've been doing this a long time. We say we're the old guys now, we got 30 years under our belt. So when we go and we pick a partner, we kind of vet, who we want to work with and how good that product is for the subscriber base that we have, because we don't want to sell something and then have issues with it. And hey, Keith, what was this that you sold?
I always go to shops and then I look at their automation and it's like not running.
Right.
You see
Plenty
it
of
all
times.
the time.
All the time. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. No. So
find
good
a system
stuff.
that's easy for everyone, and then teach it. Build education around it.
Yep.
All kinds of different fixtures, different types of parts, different vices, everything.
So your next purchase, you got to get some more hours at the house. You could let these guys work all day.
It's definitely the direction we're going in, for sure.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Heck
absolutely.
Yeah. No, good on you.
Down the line. So
Yeah.
So Courtney, now what do you think of the shop? Now I walk in and you're like, your desk is right there, greeting everyone.
I mean, I think it's great.
Super cool.
We've grown so big. We support our family. We support his sister's family. My mom now works there. My brother-in-law works there. It's
Super
great.
good.
And I love, we have so many employees and we treat them like family. So
That's
we're
great.
just one big happy family there.
Yeah. I love when I went up there, I got there like a little bit late because driving through Baltimore and all that. And then the guys got off at like 4:00. I got there at 5 or something. Yeah. And you're like, oh, they're still here.
They stuck around for you.
They wanted to hang out, meet you and stuff. I was like,
great.
Yeah. And I just love that. He's like, oh, family member.
Yeah.
Super good.
So you got 7 years under your belt. Mm-hmm. Good start. What's the goal? Where do you guys want to be? What's the 5-year, 10-year plan?
It might not sound right, but I really don't look that far ahead.
Okay. That's all right.
Just take it day by day.
Yeah.
I am living in the moment. Like I love where we're at. And
could you ever have imagined 12 spindles though when you bought that first Haas and where you are right now?
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
That's great.
Yeah. I love that attitude. I love that attitude also because it's like people they're just like, I want to grow. But it's like if the company's taking care of the customers, taking care of
It'll all come.
Like it's there.
Yeah.
You don't have to just keep growing and growing. I got so big so fast that I was miserable.
Yeah.
Because I went from being the best programmer in the shop to being chained to my desk just trying to make payroll.
Right.
And just having like this nut I had to hit, and then like it was miserable. You know, that's why my desk now is in the shop next to a machine, because that was my whole thing, is like I had to work back to get back to over there. And now we're getting bigger and bigger, but it's in a different way and it's more manageable for me, where I'm bringing in leaders, having responsibility given to so many people, where when I was only job shopping, it was all on my personal shoulders and stuff. And it became just a big burden to carry, and especially with my family, with my everything, and I was running 3 shifts, day shift, night shift, weekend shift. And I'm just like working every single day, man.
Crazy.
And I love it. My wife didn't. And then she used to be like, oh, you're gonna miss church. And I'm like, when I was off course, and just making a huge amount of money, and it was just kind of like, man, God wouldn't have given me the work if he didn't want me to get it done. If I don't go in on Sunday, I'm not getting the job done.
Right.
And stuff. And that's why today I told Keith when he came, and everybody knows that my guys do not work on the weekends. So once 08, 09 happened, and I within a hair, I lost everything and basically just barely saved it. I just made a commitment that my team will never work weekends. And sometimes they come in because they just want to be here. And we built a great place that people want to spend time. They bring their kids and stuff. But it's like, I never call on anybody on the weekends. Right. I might like
text and
jab
say
them a
what
little
up?
bit and like, hey, we can do better on this or something. But like, it's like little things.
You know what I noticed about your shop too? I wanted to ask you this. So you're a lathe guy, but I don't see a lathe in the shop. It's all mills.
Well,
Is that right?
We have a Mori-Sigi MT
Okay.
2000, so
Okay.
it's a mill turn.
Got it.
You know, with a B axis.
Yeah.
And it's the whole deal. It's got a lower turret,
Yep, yep.
spindle. But we only have that one right now. We're bringing an SL20 in. It's an old one.
Okay.
It's actually from the original company that I used to work at.
Got it.
We already have one of those old machines that I learned on a while ago, and so now we're bringing in the SL20. We have some ideas of making like some screws. Nothing that we think is gonna be like too high production or anything.
Right. Just need something to get some work done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're and then prep opping for the MT.
There you
like
go.
A lot of times I'll
Yep.
put a spud on something and then hold on it. So just to be able to do prep ops and things like that.
Good on you.
I've always been kind of that 60-40 shop, 60 mills, 40 lathes.
Yep.
It's just always been like that. And I'm a mill guy. You know, I used to run lathes back in the day, but I love mills because at that time you didn't have all the live tooling and all that.
Right.
And then, you know, I used to just like stack like soft jaws across the entire table, you know, and then just
Load
put
it
a whole
up.
bunch of circles. And I used to just buy pucks so I could actually do a lot of trick lathe work on the mills.
Right.
Plus do the mill parts. So for me growing, it made sense to have more mills, you know, and I did a ton of lathe parts, got very good at making super clean surface finishes, doing all the internal works and stuff. But
Isn't that funny? Every time I'd sell a machine to a guy, maybe it was his first one, he'd always buy a mill because you could always do lathe parts on a mill, but you can't do mill parts on a lathe. Today you can.
don't
'cause
say,
like we
oh,
say,
right there.
Oh,
You just
man.
killed it because now in the comments, all these guys are going to start tearing you
Exactly.
up.
Well, I was going to
He
say.
said it. I didn't say
Now
it. Now
you can because you've got the mill turns and you got some heavy horsepower now on live tools. But back in the day, it wasn't like that. I'd sell so many 2-axis lathes, so many, and now it's like you can't buy a mill without live tooling.
There's some trick
Yeah, so don't come
tooling-
after me.
There's some trick tooling out there that'll
There is.
actually allow you to do hexes and do these different flats and stuff too. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But,
Good
man,
stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are in Texas.
It's awesome.
So
Heck yeah.
good.
It's so
Heck
good.
yeah.
These guys came in last night and then we had dinner and stuff and he machined me a snowman. I was showing Gabby
So
this
cool.
morning. I was like, look at all the machine, the buttons and all that. And so good, man. I appreciate you guys so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
Super good.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
So,
no,
and then
super
what
nice
you
meeting.
got up and went running?
Got up, ran this morning.
Good for
This-
you.
this
In the
guy-
rain, even. It was
In the-
raining out
in the
there
rain,
today.
Yeah, it was,
First time we
it
had
was
rain a little
pouring.
bit. Yeah.
I came back and I had mud all over my
Mud
back.
everywhere. I
Courtney's
was
like, "What
Alex."
happened?
I was like, where did you go?
That's a pretty
That's great.
cool little area over there, huh? Did you guys see all the shops over there by
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
the
we
Hilton?
drove through. Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll be able to walk through later. The
Yeah,
rain
yeah.
will stop.
It's supposed to
So,
stop 2
yeah.
o'clock, and tomorrow's supposed to be very sunny and nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
super nice area and stuff.
You guys
so,
at Town Square?
yeah,
Yeah. It's a great little spot.
yeah.
Oh,
I
love
told
it.
them that when we were building our life over here and getting the house and I was working on the building and all
Yep.
that, then every 2 weeks we just go stay at that hotel right there.
Yeah,
You know,
that's great. That's the
super good.
one he put me at when I came here to
Yeah.
visit too. It's like you
Super
gotta.
good.
It
It's a little
draws
spot.
you. It's
And
a
now,
great
now
spot.
I live right on. It's like the shop is here. I live here. It's right in the middle and stuff. So a lot of people they come here and then they want to have dinner and different things. It's easy for me to just get.
Let me guess, Moxie's
Yes. Yeah.
steak bites.
Oh man,
They're
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good. They're so good. Oh, good
Uh-huh.
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna roll it.
Heck
so
yeah.
Yeah.
all good. But great having you. Congratulations with the success.
Yeah,
and
Thank you.
amazing
congrats.
company.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for just being like, a pillar in our Facebook group. I don't think a lot of people know. Like we have this Facebook group that's been around. There's been articles written on how positive and just a lot of groups out there were just so negative and just everybody's just beating up on everybody. So we created this Facebook group and Titans of CNC, the private group, and it's just got so many
many
positive
members?
people. It's like 80 something thousand now,
Yeah.
something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, very good.
But it's so positive. And I remember when it was like reaching 1,000, everybody kept saying, "Hey Titan, like don't expect to keep it like positive. Like this thing's gonna turn.
people are
to,
going to
you know
come.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way that you can do it. But we just kept. I kept that in mind. I'm like, if you come to my house and you disrespect my wife, I'm gonna kick you out.
Yeah,
You know
of
what I mean?
course.
But having that kind of attitude and just saying like, look, if you mistreat people and you do these different things, like, sometimes we'll talk to you, but we're just going to kick you out.
You're not in.
People appreciate it, and then they end up policing it too.
Yeah.
And say somebody says something, and then somebody else will be like, hey man, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
like
this
we've
and
always
this, and there's
talked.
kids here, there's teachers
Yes.
here, so it polices itself. Plus we have a bunch of great moderators and stuff, but I just appreciate, guys like Alex over here that go in there and actually, just
So
always
great.
lifting people up and answering questions, and somebody wants to know how to machine or Inconel or machine or use a thread mill or how to write a program, and it's like everybody's just there helping
Yeah, you get
out.
like hundreds of comments. If you post a
Every-
question on there,
yeah.
you'll get like 100 people will respond to it.
That's the greatest.
Yeah.
And the amount of posts, like there's posts that are just going up like every minute, like
Yeah.
it's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah, very nice.
But also-
After you posted that last YouTube video when you came by the shop, I got a couple emails from some younger guys, and two of them, Justin and David. So shout out to you guys if you're listening.
Oh,
They
man.
actually they wanted, they're fans of Titans of CNC. They came by, stopped by the shop, and just like wicked smart kids. Like you can
Nice.
tell they're definitely they're going places. And the one Justin, he's got a dream to have his own shop one day. And
Beautiful.
So he's been staying in touch with me, and just a really, really smart guy. It's awesome
Love
to
it.
see the community
Yeah.
Awesome.
that you guys have built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we've all built.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's been great. So Loper Machine, what is the website?
www.lopermachine.com.
Easy
Awesome.
peasy.
Easy peasy.
And
Yeah,
then just
good
go
on
in
you,
there, and
buddy.
if somebody wants to have you quote work, they can just hit quote or
Yep.
info or what?
Yep. Yeah, I think there is a
There's
button
like a
on there, right?
contact, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff about the internship and everything like that on there.
Yeah,
Right
you can
on.
find out everything on there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, you guys are awesome. Super nice meeting both of you, and great success so far,
Thank
and
you.
continued success in the
Thank you.
future. Yeah.
Thank you so
Boom.
much.